Hello, my name is Jason Meisenheimer, and today I'm representing my team who's put together a video for new prospective pastors. In this video, it's more of an interview type setting. What we've done is we've gone to local churches and even some churches that are a good ways away and asked pastors a set of 5 questions. And these 5 questions are questions that we really thought were important for new pastors to know. So today we're going to share with you a video from one of our interviews that we thought was very interesting and very useful. This pastor had great commentaries on all these questions and is something that needs to be shared with all new pastors. So we hope you'll gain some knowledge and some insight on what you're getting yourself into when becoming a new pastor. Thanks.
My name is Chris Bauer. I am the executive pastor at New Covenant Church in Tyler, Texas. I was in a state university when I became a Christian. I was a sophomore. And when I became a Christian and felt the Lord calling me to ministry, my first inclination was to go to a school where I could finish out my bachelor's degree and then continue on with education. Just through the process, I felt the Lord had led me to another training school where I did 2 years of training in teaching and preaching and Bible study. There really is an art to preaching, and although everybody finds their own style, there is a class called homiletics, which teaches you how to build your sermons and how to have scriptural references and everything that's needed in a sermon. After I finished that 2-year training school, I went into ministry, and I've been in ministry for 25 years now. But training for ministry, just like really with any other job, you have to continue education, and there's lots of continuing education programs that you can go through and do. Ministry really is an on-the-job training situation. Most of us have had several years of school, bachelor's, master's. I even know, obviously, men that have their doctorates in ministry. But everything that they teach you in class, you have to walk out in real life. So you learn almost as you go. There are a lot of principles, obviously, that you've been given just with any other type of schooling that you would have, any other type of teaching that you would have. But you have to walk that out. So through the years, I was a youth pastor for many, many years, and keeping up with trends that are going on in youth ministry helped. Going to conferences where you would receive additional training has helped. And now that I've moved into an executive pastor position, you talk about really trial by fire, because everything that I'm doing now, I'm learning as I go, because I've been put into positions that I've never really had experience with, but I'm having to learn the process of what this team or what this ministry fully does, and then help them learn how to grow the ministry or take the ministry to the next step.
Hey guys, my name is Melvin Cates. I'm the youth pastor here at Central Baptist Church in Livingston, Texas. And I would have to say that probably the most difficult part of being a pastor is balancing out all of the demands of the job. It is a ministry, and it is something that you were called to do by God, and so with that divine calling comes a lot of responsibility. But the biggest responsibility is to maintain your spiritual growth by maintaining your time with God, your quiet time, as some would say. And it's easy to think that that would come easy because you're always studying the Bible, you're studying commentaries, and you have your Bible right there. But it's difficult when you have all the other responsibilities and all the other demands on your time. So that would be the biggest thing, is balancing out the responsibilities, but the first responsibility being your spiritual growth and your time alone with God, and keeping that a priority. And it may sound cliche, but I would say probably the most enjoyable part is the most difficult part, and that is growing spiritually, and having that increased knowledge of who God is, His call on people's lives, being able to see Him work in the lives of those in your church, but also in the lives of the community around you. And so I would have to say that that is the absolute most enjoyable part of being a pastor, is growing closer to God, but then also seeing His impact in the lives of people around you. First and foremost, number one responsibility is spiritual growth, spending time with God, but then also doing everything that you possibly can do to encourage others to do the same in every way possible. So, spending time in prayer with the church and individuals of the church. Spending time and pouring into those lives. Discipleship is kind of a hot word all of a sudden, but discipleship has always been there. That responsibility has always been there. As a matter of fact, I think it's the number one responsibility of pastors, is to pour into the lives of the church, so that more pastors can grow out of that congregation. So discipleship, 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 and finding out what the needs are of the community, and doing everything that we can possibly do to fill those needs and to see God work. I would say, and I tried to think of the best way to put this. Um, Remember that you are called to be a pastor, um, despite your fallenness, despite your own sin, despite your own flaws, and you are called to pastor others who have the same sins and the same flaws. To remember that this world is not perfect. It never has been since chapter 3 of Genesis, and it never will be until we have a new heaven and a new earth. And to not expect life to be perfect all of a sudden because you're working in a church or serving in some capacity at a church. The church is full of dirty little sinners. The great part about that is that most of them have repented and are being sanctified. However, we're all still dirty little sinners, and we all have our flaws. We all have our hang-ups and our preferences, and the way that we think things should be done. And the church will let you know that. But to remember the calling, remember the day that you felt that call. And don't ever forget that, because there will be days where you'll want to walk away. There'll be days where you want to just hang it up and not look back. But you have to remember that day that you surrendered, because that is the day that you gave it all. And so it's no longer up to you. And that is the day that you can look back on and say, yes, I knew I was walking into a fallen world, already had been there, but walking into it with a servant's heart, and knowing that I'm going to shepherd fallen sheep just like myself, and not having that choice to walk away again.